Hi there. I wanted to take a couple minutes and speak to authentic movement. And you may or may not have heard that phrase or that term and what it actually means. Um, and to me, authentic movement is a way of following my body and actually allowing it to move in the way it wants to move. And whether it's a certain subtlety or it's actually a bigger gesture, and it's letting my body unwind, as well as not just the physiological, but it's also allowing me to connect in with the emotional unwinding as well, where it's locked in the tissues and is stored in the kind of little cruxes that we're not aware of, and just really trusting in my body to take the lead without thinking what's the right posture, what's the right position, what's the right stretching. And so there's so many different ways that you can kind of go into this place. It's not controlled, it's not thinking, and and so just a lot of following, a lot of allowing and noticing from a different way. We've done a lot of different meditations where I've guided you while you're just sitting in stillness. This one starts to actually put movement and motion in there because the body's natural state is moving. It loves to move. That's kind of when people start to get older. It's so important that you have some type of movement, whether it's walking or whatever it is, because the body loves to stay in motion. It loves to be fluid like that. And one other thing that I was thinking of before I taught this, I'm like, oh, it's like when you're on the dance floor and you just kind of get into that zone and you get into that space and you get lost. Like your body and your rhythm, and you're not thinking and you're just moving, and you're following the rhythm of the music and the sounds and the vibrations, and your body's almost like there's a moment where you're lost in it and you're not thinking about anything, and everything feels so free and so fluid. It's that type of movement, it's that type of place, and authentic movement is something that I use to begin my meditation. So before I move into the stillness, I allow myself to let my body go where it needs to go, because the body's been so, we stay so controlled most of the time, most of the day, whether we're sitting at the desk or we're driving in the car, or even when we're doing exercises, we're doing the right body postures and the right mechanics. This is like, it's your body's time. Like, what does it really want to do? What's this type of motion? And you can get underneath it after you release it. Like, what does it really want to be moving? What does it want to be doing, that's more organic, that it wants to release, that it wants to speak to you? So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to talk you through. I'm going to go into myself, and as I'm moving through it, I'm going to verbalize what I'm actually experiencing so you can witness and understand what I'm talking about. So, without any um, any more stalls, here we go. So, starting with my breath, noticing my breath, feel the rise of my chest, the fall of my belly, and I notice my tailbone. And my tailbone right now, it wants, if I can feel this motion, and it wants to very subtly, yep, tilt under. And I go into that motion, and it wants to go back and back. And then I feel it's ready to stop. And just stay right here. And as I stay here, I can feel these tinglings going down my left leg, out through the left side of my foot. My left shoulder wants attention. It wants to move up and over with my arm. And starting to rotate back. And anytime I notice myself thinking, am I doing this right? I take a breath and ask my body, what does it want to do? Where does it want to go? And I can feel my whole torso wanting to torque towards the other side, and we go into that motion. Oh, that feels so good. As I feel my muscles going into contraction and release, I also feel a little bit of emotion, a little bit of sadness coming up. And letting go. And at this time, my body feels like it's at a stopping point, of which I'd either go into a meditation or from this place, I can journal as I'm really connected to my body and I'm really grounded and really present. So the embodied writing is coming from a very heart-centered and almost earthy, rooted place. Yeah, and as I say that, I see tree trunks, lots of green. And so with authentic movement, it brings everything, the mind, the body, the spirit, into alignment, into harmony. And there's this trust where I'm following not only am I following and noticing the body, I'm in that moment immediately working with it and moving what it's asking for. And so it's building this relationship between all three and harmonizing all three into almost one, as opposed to all the different pieces trying to speak to one another or trying to vie for attention. And it becomes more fluid. So with that, you can take this practice. I like to start small with just sitting and just working in the subtle movements in the breath. How does your body want to breathe? How do your shoulders, how do they want to move? And then you can make it bigger into different practices. When you're going for a walk around the neighborhood, how does your body want to walk? Maybe your legs don't want to move in a straight line. Maybe you want to walk in diagonals. Maybe your legs kind of want to go in different directions. Or even in the morning, as simple as before you even get out of bed, when you're stretching, it's very natural. Like, what does your body, how does it want to wake up? How does it want to kind of orient into the morning and to wake itself up? And even in the way I tend to practice yoga is more aligned with this. Is I'll eventually end up in the yoga positions, but I'll follow my body with how does it want to arrive there. Um, so this is a great way to start connecting with movement in the body, to really connect it into root, and then eventually you can actually take it steps forward and even more so. Like, how can you move in this way that's aligned in the world? Instead of forcing and efforting, how can you have the trinity of the mind, the body, and the spirit all moving in ways that feels nourishing, that feels really aligned and supportive of all parts of yourself? So with lots of love and deep gratitude, thank you so much.